Hello everyone. My name is Rob Haile. Firstly, much love to the organizers of this event. Both Saturdays held here at Svendika. All I can say to them is thank you. Thank you very much. Before I start, I would like to quote some words from the introduction of this book. The Best of Heroic Stories, Restoring Faith and Humanity, One Story at a Time, Volume 1. The wrong, the bad, the horrific, and the tragic seem normal, but they're not. Good people are normal, life is normal, lending a hand to others is normal. People must be proactively reminded of the normal to regain their balance and a realistic view of humanity. Most people wait for someone to do something about things they don't like. People must realize they can do something themselves. They can say something, they can tell someone, they can act by themselves. They do not have to sit and watch injustice. Today I want to present one piece titled The Eighth. Subtitle 1 ... 2 ... 1. I have a certain disdain for mainstream holidays. I like to see the issue as an illusion of grandeur. New Year's and the fallacy of New Year resolutions, Women's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, St. Valentine's Day. This illusion of grandeur, for me, it represents a tendency to be drawn towards bold, pretty, packaged entities. Why can't we promise to be better and newer every single moment? Why can't we appreciate and respect women for the whole of the year? Same goes for our mothers and fathers. Why can't we spread love and sentimental gifts every single instance that we can? Why can't we go past that one day, that one grand day? So the ability to live in the moment and go beyond the man-made constraints of time is what I fail to see in these grandiose events. 2. Let me come to my muse for today's piece, March 8th. As I was going about, these events took place in the month of March. I saw it fit to mention. A few days before March 8th, walking around my neighborhood, I saw a man raise his hand to assumingly strike a woman's face. Fortunately, it was an assertion of his dominance. It didn't escalate. A few days after March 8th, I heard a man saying, "You couldn't comprehend what I said because I called you a bitch," on his phone while in the taxi. A few days after that, I was next to a driver of a transport vehicle as he made a comment about women drivers, after having passed a car with a woman driving. A week or so after that, my sister sat next to a guy in a taxi. He reached over to open a window, not without a feel of her chest with his elbow arm. Throughout the trip, he initiated a conversation with her, attempted to flirt and get her number. Later that day, a man spit on her while she was talking with her friends around uni. A few more similar instances I would have liked to mention. I admit the idea I have of these occurrences may be inaccurate, yet I doubt it. I sense a pattern of discrimination, violation of personal space, and acts of misogyny in general. Just a disclaimer, what follows may contain dose of vulgar. First and foremost, let me clear something up. I do recognize the problem, I do analyze it, yet I do not retract from being part of the problem. Common sense, my witness, I am no saint. I'm a sinner in a broken system, yet I'll try my best until that system is broken no more. With that out of the way, let me get right to it. March 8th, one day. Sends my thoughts back to that one day in 1908, to those female factory workers locked up so they wouldn't strike, locked up so they wouldn't fight for equal pay, locked up, 129 lives taken with the blaze. My thoughts come to the present. 1. A scene plays out in my head between a woman and a man. March 8th, 11:59 p.m. Roses are red, violets are blue, sugar is sweet and so are you. Here's a rose, embrace your womanhood. March 9, 12:01 a.m. Get to that kitchen, make me some food. Don't care if you're tired, don't care if you're in the mood. Turn around, I want to hit that. Talk back, I'm going to smack that. Curtains closed. 2. A day of women's only run and not all for equality, equality for all. A day of Women's Day only special discounts. A day of Women's Day only special self-care treatments. A day of marketing spin for conglomerates. Is that really what it ought to be? I talked of a system broken. Let's see which parts are missing to make it work. In one route, maybe catcalling. Comment on her physicality. Imagine you'll be smashing a stone's throw away from raping. Oh, then you do a 180 and blame it on what she was wearing. She was too enticing, she was too revealing. Oh, a system so broken. Mr. Prime Minister, I rebuke your statement. Mr. Prime Minister, I rebuke statement. That statement with a call to move the discussion from the streets to the meeting halls. Let me tell you how I see it. Change is through activism. Change is not through one leader. Change is by the people. Change is not through politicians glued to the chairs till their death. Mind you, when I say activism, I'm not talking about those march with nails on sticks, claiming as their own what is not theirs to take. When I say one leader, I'm only referring to the illusion of grandeur, one bold, pretty, packaged entity. When I say by the people, I boldly say that it's through the mindset as people decide to be their better self. When I say politicians, I'm not constraining you all in a group. There are those who do good and those who don't, mind you. Yeah, my belief is in the people to fight for what's right. Yeah, my belief is in the march of the awakened. Yeah, my belief is in the people's fight for equality. And the hymns I hear from the meeting halls, claps for wordless words, claps for those talks with no walks, those are not the melodies that resonate. Those that do are of the movement. Setaweet, Jegnit, Feminist Front. I rejoice in their words and in their works. You see, change is through activism. Change is by the people. Change is internal. Going back to those parts missing, I do recognize a disconnect between our parents saying, be our good little boy, and decades later, extend our family line and bring us grandchildren. A disconnect very much apparent on the global stage. So where would young boys fill in that void? Music videos preaching of them hoes, that pussy and this pussy? So who would those young boys look up to? Those disrespecting the same beings our existence came out from? I haven't even gotten to that of the subliminal, the implicit bias. One, I heard of a system in place in an Asian country. To quietly resonate patriarchy in a hospital, men's ward was put one floor above. To quietly resonate, men are above and beyond. Recently, I heard that in a mall opening up here, in spatial arrangement of the spas, men's was put one floor above. Maybe it was random, maybe they don't mean harm, maybe not. Two, there's an Amharic word we are all familiar with. Let me just explain a bit. Abba wera. Head of the family. For me, it represents a stereotype, one in which the man is the breadwinner and the woman the homemaker. I might be shunned for criticizing tradition, but isn't it dogmatic beliefs why those parts are missing, why the system is broken? Let me give two ideas as solutions. One, educate. Educate young men how to respect. Educate young women how to fight for their rights. Educate on the streets of Bahardar that groping a common practice on those streets. It is wrong. There is no defense beyond. Two, be an activist through who you are. In our country, condoms subsidized and sanitation pads not. Martial rape is still not an offense. A wife's vagina, a 24-hour convenience store, one he can take for granted. Admittedly, the government seems to be open towards equality, yet the above two display that there ought to be more. The above two tell you that there's much to be an activist for. To all, equality is the essence of humanity. To stand by idly is to further patriarchy. Join the fight against empty filters used to discriminate. Let all of us live with equal opportunities. Let all of us decide our own fate. To women, one. I'll speak through the words of Jacob Tabia, someone you may not know, but I feel you'll relate. When someone tries to stigmatize, discriminate, and or degrade you, just remember these words. That's their trauma showing. The reason that someone would lash out is because that someone has been traumatized based on their gender. Someone told them that they shouldn't cry when they were a child. Someone told them that this is who they had to be, that they weren't manly or womanly enough. That's their trauma showing. The base is not something wrong with your being. Inherently true and beautiful as you are, you should be. You exist for you, not a patriarchy who tells you how to act and how to be. Two, I do not represent you, nor your fight. Frankly, you do. I'll fight against privilege bestowed upon me by the ever so holy patriarchy. And I, one, I stand with you. I stand for you. Two, I stand for equality. Three, I may be one, dear true essence of the eighth, yet I am yours truly. Thank you.